Okay, got my hot drink. What am I on tonight? We're on blackcurrant kind of, or berry tea tonight. Had a big old conversation with my morning yogis about my clove tea. I've been drinking a lot of a lot of clove tea because I came back with clove leaves from the island, and so I've been using like having one clove leaf a day in my hot water. It's been lovely. So yeah, I was telling them about that because I didn't want to. I take with me hot drinks to work, but I didn't want to leave them in the car this morning because the car, while I was teaching, it's only a 45-minute class, and I didn't want to leave them in the car because the car they just get cold so quickly. So I came in with all these drinks. They're like, "What are you doing?" So yeah, that's how we got talking about teas. But yeah, so I've had quite a range of different teas. This one is I like the berry ones because I feel like they're a bit comforting for the evening. Anyway, that's what I'm up to. I've posted something on my Facebook and my Instagram about a sort of Chinese version of a hot toddy. Maybe that's what we should be drinking. Whether you have it with alcohol, without alcohol, that's your call. But there's a nice version with a little Chinese tweak for winter. Anyway, you've had chance to settle, to come to find a seat. Please make sure that you are comfortable and that you can rest your hands into your lap when you're ready. I'd like you to close down the eyes. Relax the shoulders. And feel that your body is sinking a little bit into the ground beneath you. An acknowledgement of the presence of your being. A sense that you can rest and settle and allow yourself to be in this moment, to be present, to be aware of this breath, the one that is happening now. This inhalation, followed by this exhalation. And so for our practice this evening, we are staying attentive to the breath. And wherever possible, if the mind travels off to a distant other place, once you become aware that that's happened, I'd like you to bring your attention gently and with kindness back to your breath. This isn't a chance to tell yourself off or to get cross with yourself. This is a practice. And tonight's practice is all about coming back. It's about returning gently into the present moment, to this breath that you are breathing right now. This inhalation, this exhalation. Stay with each breath. Each breath's arrival and exit. each breath's journey into and out of your body. Take one more breath, please. And then gently begin to open your eyes and come back into the space that you're in. Okay, so taking your brick, we're going to come into our first pose of the night, which is you laying on your tummy with the brick propped up, probably on its high setting, and then your arms coming either side and your chin just cradling, resting onto the top of the brick. Now, if this is too strong for your neck, too much of a extension, then please lower the height of the brick. But it's a similar to position. If I was to take the brick away, it's similar to you having your elbows on the floor and you propping your chin onto your palms. So this is an alternative, and this gives you the option to widen the elbows and therefore be lower to the floor, so it's less of extension. But if you want to keep using the prop, please do. But know that there's always a way to modify it. You just have to be a little bit inventive. Okay, so timer is going on. You are settling into this shape and you're doing your best to let the chin be supported by the block, but you're also trying your best to relax the shoulders, which is it can be a little hard here because you're propping yourself up somewhat. So this is neck extension, not something to be afraid of because this is the natural curvature of the cervicular spine. So we're just enhancing the way that this part of your body likes to bend. However, if it feels too strong, if it gives you any sensation of feeling lightheaded, then you must adapt the pose. You must either make the extension less or just come out altogether. Okay, so I've done a lot of talking. We're over halfway. Remember that I said that tonight's practice is about the return. It's coming back and we're anchoring the attention onto the breath. So you've got about 1 more minute here. I'm not going to give you any other instruction other than to say, just watch the breath. Please take 1 more breath. And then you're coming off of the brick, but leaving it where it is. So be very gentle with yourself because the neck can be a little bit delicate. And we'll take a rebound after we've done the second side. So remember, we're going to do front body, back body. So it's sort of the same pose. I'm taking my hair out because my hairband would be in the way. And I'm keeping the brick on this height, but know that you can drop the height of the brick. But I'm literally turning around. Whoopsie. Try and move my hair out the way. And then I'm going to prop the back of my head. So this is the base of the skull is being propped up onto the brick. So it's essentially the same pose, but in reverse. Let me put my timer on. So remember, modify this if you need to. And so, if the neck extension was following the natural curve of the vertebra of the neck, the cervicular spine, this is flexion of the neck, and is something that is a shape that the neck, the bones of the neck, doesn't prefer to be in. Yet, ironically, this is what we do most of the day long. Now, the reason that we include it in our yin practices is because actually what you're doing is fully flexing the neck. And I know I've mentioned this many times, but often in our day-to-day lives, we have our head tilted forwards, but we're only part of the way into flexion. We're not fully flexed. And so because we're part of the way, the muscles of the neck have to work very hard to support the heavy head in that position. Whereas if you come fully into flexion, that's actually a very nice place for the muscles to be in because they're getting that full stretch out. They're not having to kind of hold themselves in that semi flexed state where they're having to work quite hard. So this is not a bad thing for your neck to be doing, but like I said for the previous variation, if it makes you feel lightheaded, if it gets uncomfortable, lower the height or just come off entirely. There's no point in mucking about here and, you know, trying to be a heroine and staying for the whole amount of time, which, by the way, you've got 1 more minute. So I'm going to shut up again and just for this minute, just be with your body breathing. Last breath. So be kind and gentle as you exit and simply take the brick away and lay your head down. And now we take the rebound. Noticing as much as possible the sensation changes in your neck and your upper back and your shoulders. Okay, so take one more breath here. Okay, so we've begun with the neck. We're now going to move to the upper back. So you're going to take either your block or a rolled up blanket or another yoga mat, doesn't matter. And I'd suggest having it on its flat setting, its lowest setting, but if you wanted it on its medium one, that's okay too, or something along those lines. And the block is going to go under your shoulders. So I want it sort of in the middle of your upper back, and hopefully you can see where that is underneath me, okay? And then you're going to lay down and you need to have your head resting on something. So if your head doesn't quite touch the ground, put something underneath it so that it can find a resting point, please. Okay. And then, so this is, we've gone back into extension of the spine and we've moved into the thoracic spine, and this part of the spine doesn't like back bending. It likes forward bending. So we're doing the opposite now of what it prefers. And so you can probably feel that as you meet with the resistance that being here entails. It's more challenging, isn't it? It's a little bit more of hard work. We're taking our bodies out of their normal comfort zones. However, very, very needed, because we do way too much flexion with our thoracic spine. And so actually we need to antidote that by doing these movements. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I can't emphasize how important this is for your spine. And really, this kind of movement for your spine itself, you've got to be doing this every day to undo some of the intense flexion that we put our upper back through. However, enough of me lecturing at you. Instead, let's see how it feels to be with the breath and to be with the sound of your breath. So that is your anchor for this pose, for this next remaining time here. You've got about a minute and a half. And every time your mind wanders off, bring it back to the sound of your breath. So let's take one more breath here, please. And the nice thing to do would be to come into a rebound, but we're not getting one just yet. So carefully, gently take yourself off of your support and come up into a seated position, please. And then choose something to sit on. It might be your bolster if it's within reach. It might be your block, so you could use that as your seat. I'm going to sit on my bolster. And you're going to sit with your feet wide apart and your knees bent. Okay. So our focus is on this upper part of our spine, the thoracic spine, and we're going to flex it. So you're going to fold it forwards. So the choices are either, I'll sit to the side so that you can see, you're either going to give yourself a hug, and we'll do half of the time with the arms wrapped this way and half of the time with the arms wrapped this way. And then you're going to round, basically. We're going to be in this shape with this very rounded upper back. So that's option one with the arms. Or you can take option two, which is eagle arms. And then you're doing the same thing. You're just rounding. So basically, you're going to sit in this position like this with your arms in their wrap of choice. It doesn't matter which one, whatever one's more comfortable. And then you're just folding forwards into this space in between the legs. You're going to let your head hang down. You're going to let the elbows feel heavy. You're creating a little bit of space across your upper back. Has the sound that your breath is making changed? Can you return to the sound of your breath every time you notice that your mind has travelled off somewhere else? We're halfway through. Can you change your arm position? So just change the wrap of the arm so the other arm is on top. And then come back into your fold. Take one more breath here. And then slowly bring yourself up and out. And I'm going to suggest that you come lay on your tummy as your rebound. Now, this is optional. If laying on your front doesn't appeal to you, please rest in any other position that you like. Enjoy feeling your spine sinking and softening as you settle. Okay, so slowly coming into the next pose, which is a nice straightforward cobra, for which you can modify. If you want some extra height, you could put your block underneath your elbows, or you could use your bolster. You could come into a seal variation if you want to go even deeper than that. But as you can tell, we're creating extension in the lower back. And this is the preferred shape, isn't it? This is how the lower back likes to be positioned. So we're offering it something that it enjoys doing. And this is another one of those poses that is recommended to do daily because it puts the curve back into your lumbar, and we tend to lose the curve because of our posture. So we want to encourage this lumbar shape. So again, we're just going to hang out here. And I'm not going to do too much talking. Last time you thought about the sound that your breath made, and that was your anchor for both poses. Now this time, can you feel for the temperature of your breath? So see if you can be aware of the temperature as it comes in, the temperature as it goes out. You can anchor onto both, or you can just think about one or the other. But every time that the mind wanders off, this is where you're coming back to. The sensation of the breath entering or exiting your body. The sensation of temperature. Okay, so taking one more breath here. Well done. Slowly, softly, you're going to rise up onto your hands and knees. And remember, this is the lower back that we're thinking about. So now we want to stretch it, we want to flex it. You've got two choices. You can either come into a child's pose, which might be quite nice, or you can come into a butterfly forward fold, thinking about taking the roundness into this lower part of your back. So they're your two choices. I like to give you a choice every now and then. Some appeals to some bodies, some appeals to others. It doesn't matter really. Thinking about target area means that it doesn't matter what the pose looks like at all. You know that the target area is to lengthen your lower back, to flex it forwards. So allow that to happen in whatever shape you select. And again, noticing how long can you keep your attention on the temperature of your breath. The temperature around the rims of your nostrils. Relax as much as you can. Resist the temptation to try harder. Back off and find ease. Find softness. Take this last breath and slowly emerge from your shape and carefully and gently lower yourself into a lying position. Just take one or two more breaths here. Okay, so coming back up into a seated position. Next pose, front body this time, and you're going to stretch out the front of the hips and the thighs. So this is saddle pose, but I will give you a variation, so the normal variation that we take. So for those of you that like this pose as is, you can either sit kneeling, or you can sit between the feet, or you can bring a block or something underneath the bottom, and you can lay yourself down to the ground, or you put your bolster or something behind you to catch you so that you've got some support in your back bend. Okay, so that's option number one for those that like this pose. You can do it with one leg straight if you need to protect a knee or something along those lines. The alternative is to lay on your back, to have the knees bent, to roll the knees to one side, and then to reach for this foot and kind of pull it a little bit towards your bottom or a little bit out to the side. You can play with this until you feel a stretch happening on the front of your leg. Okay, and then I'll give you a time check so that you can swap over to the other leg. All right, so set yourself up please into one or the other of those. I'm going to put my timer back on. But don't worry, you're going to have plenty of time here, so if you're still getting set up into the shape, please don't rush. Oh, you're right, Vivian. Okay, it's all right. It's having a little massage, which is good. Okay. Good. So previously we enjoyed the temperature, we've enjoyed the sound. Now we're going to think about the space that the breath creates and how the body changes shape to receive the breath. So this is kind of a nice place to begin this, because we can direct loads of attention into the openness of the front of the body. And so you're literally feeling your body expanding as you breathe in, contracting as you breathe out. And staying in that awareness for as long as you can. And coming back to it whenever you notice you've disappeared. Whenever you notice you've wandered off. If you are doing one leg, this is time to swap to the other side, please. And taking your last breath here. And slowly returning, coming back into an upright position, but take your time. Bend your knees, roll to the side, be super gentle. And we come then into our final shape. So we stretch the front of the thighs and the hips. So we're going to do the back of the thighs, kind of makes sense. So we're taking a forward fold, which could just be you sitting on the floor and tipping forwards. Now remember, we've done the back, we've rounded the back. We want to feel this in the back of the legs. So keeping the upper body a little bit more upright is fine here. You don't have to round the spine like we do in our normal caterpillar. So for instance, you can bring the bolster in front and tip yourself towards it, or reach along it, for instance, just to kind of keep the emphasis into the back of the legs more than the rounded. So less rounded, more straight legs. But obviously do this to your own measure. Do bend the knees if you know that you feel more comfortable with a little bit of softness down the legs. Do feel free to take the feet wider than the hips. They don't have to be dead straight down in tram lines. And then thinking about your breath this final time, breathing into the back of your body, the sensation of your back expanding, and your breath moving downwards towards your kidneys. From a TCM perspective, it is the kidneys that control the inhalation. They're the driving force, the energetic force behind the breath being drawn into and down your body. Think of them like a magnet. Think of the kidneys like a magnet for your inhalation. And your exhalation is the lungs. The lungs have got to be allowed a little bit of time to shine here. They are the main organ of respiration, obviously. But it's the kidneys that control the inhale. And just out of interest, just while it is on my mind, there was a report of a study this week talking about the role that the kidneys play in certain diseases. They're saying that the kidneys do a lot of filtering of the different kind of toxins, if you like, in the body, which we know. And when they are overloaded with this, then it can lead to, I think it was things like Alzheimer's or dementia. I'll have to double check on what the illnesses were, but I find all of this so fascinating because the kidneys are so dominant in Chinese medicine for how much they control so much of the body's functions, and the harmony that happens in the body very much relies on the kidneys and their ability to flush things out because they are the element of water. So, and if they can't do that easily, then we get this overbuild of toxicity in our body, which then creates disease. Anyway, little digression, a little bit of a way, not helping your mindfulness practice, am I? So just take one or two more breaths here. Good job. So that brings us to exiting this pose. And we're going to take a final few minutes resting, your final rebound. Call it Shavasana if you like. Taking maybe some support underneath the backs of the legs that you've just worked on. Easing yourself down to the ground. Take your time. Your spine really has had a lot of focus for tonight's practice. So we just now want to find something easy, something with symmetry, something that allows your spine to rest. And to bring tonight's practice to its conclusion, I thought I'd share with you these words by Yogi Amrit Desai. The journey of transformation begins with inward focus. Meditative awareness harmonizes unconscious forces, restless minds, and emotional conflicts. Mindful meditative awareness transports you to another dimension where you experience the unifying power of the spirit. It leads you to a sacred space in the cave of your heart where you can return again and again to regain the protective power of the divine that is always present in you. As you enter this sacred space, leave your ego mind outside and invite the witness inside. The witness is like a black hole. Whatever you bring to it disappears into the void of nothingness, leaving nothing for you to do. The most beautiful part of the witness is that you have no obligation to process anything, to control anything, to expect anything. Simply be in it. Smoothly bring your awareness back into the space that you're in. And without sort of waking or disturbing yourself too much, can you gently bring yourself into a seated position? So do this slowly, take your time. Try to stay in this very kind of disconnected, this very switched off place. Almost like you're still in a Shavasana state, but coming up to sit. And when you get there, just sit with ease and close down the eyes. Be with your breath again. And just sit for one final time. We practice together. Quiet attention to the breath. Stay in this space, but just notice how you feel at the end of tonight's practice. And if you're in that very calm and peaceful state, then I really invite you to stay in that for as long as possible. And even though we finish class with a saying goodbye and we maybe have a little bit of a chat, if you don't feel like doing that tonight and you want to drift off so that you can take an early night or stay quietly somewhere, then I really invite you to do that. We are going to finish together as we usually do. And let's take the fingertips to the sides. And just imagine that we're all in one space together, one collective group practicing in the same room even. So that on your next inhale, you are gathering up not only the energy of your practice, but of all of us together. We bring the palms to meet above the head, and then exhale, travel the hands down to the heart. A little piece of everybody's yoga energy gathered into your palms right now. Take another breath in, another breath out. And then you can blink open your eyes. And thank you so much for coming to practice. Namaste to you. And yeah, if you're staying inside, then please do. Don't worry about, having a chat or having a goodbye. Even if you want to just nip off to bed, you just give us a wave and disappear if you want to.